Stop trying to motivate your team. Seriously, stop it. If you feel like you have to motivate your team in order to do their jobs every Monday when they show up to work, you're not building a culture of leadership. You're actually building a daycare center. In the SEAL teams, we didn't survive on hype. And on a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu mats, excitement doesn't stop you from getting choked out. What works, what actually builds elite performance isn't a feeling, it is a system. So today we're going to talk about why motivation is actually a trap and how you need to replace motivation with discipline and standards. If you want to build a team of leaders who can actually operate even when things are going sideways, you need to hear this. So I just landed back at the HQ and we've got some amazing stuff being cooked up and it works for y'all. But before we get into the new gear that's coming out very, very soon, I need to address something that I see killing businesses left and right. You see, we live in a world that worships motivation. We think that leaders are supposed to be cheerleaders. We think that if we just give the right speech, it's like a movie from the 90s and our team will suddenly crush their goals and hit the deadlines. It don't work like that. Here is the reality. Motivation is simply an emotion. And like emotions, they are fleeting. So it comes and it goes. Systems, those are constant. So today I'm going to break down how we view this in the SEAL teams and in the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu community, and how you can stop exhausting yourself trying to be a hype man or a hype woman and start being a true commander. So let's start with section 1, the motivation trap. Let's look at the biology of this. Motivation is basically a dopamine spike. It feels good. It feels like you can run through a brick wall. But what happens when that spike drops? What happens when you're 3 days into a project and it's raining and the client is yelling at you and you haven't slept? The motivation is gone. It has left the building. If your leadership style relies on you keeping everyone's dopamine high, you are building a house on sand. You become exhausted because you have to constantly perform, and your team becomes fragile because they can't function without an external battery charge. Think about a white belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. They operate on pure emotion and adrenaline. They explode, they push, they use all of their strength, and what happens? In 2 minutes, they're gassed out, they are doneski. Now, look at a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt when they are rolling. They aren't simply motivated to escape a mount. They don't need to pep talk in order to pass guard. They have a system. They have leverage. They have discipline. They know exactly where to put their hand and exactly how to shift their hip. In business, your white belts are employees who need you to high five them every hour. Your black belts, on the other hand, are the ones who show up, execute the standard operating procedure, and get the win whether they feel like it or not. You want to build a team of black belts, and you don't do that with a speech. You do that by putting systems in place. So that brings me to section 2. We don't rise to the occasion. There's a saying that we live by in the Naval Special Warfare community. You do not rise to the occasion. You sink to your level of training. When we were getting ready to go down range or preparing to hit a target, the platoon chief didn't gather us all around and get us in a cuddle puddle and ask us if we were feeling inspired to breach a door. No, we had a standard. We had a system. We drilled entering a room until we could do it in our sleep. We drilled malfunctions until they were muscle memory. We created a framework where the decisions to act was removed. We didn't have to decide to be brave. We just had to execute the system that we had built. And in your business, in your family, or on your team, you have to build that same architecture. If your sales teams relies on hustle, they're wrong. They need a sales process. If your operations team relies on heroics to get products shipped, then you're wrong. They need a logistics protocol. When you replace motivation with process, you remove the emotional variance. You stop asking, do you feel like working? And you start asking, did you follow the standard? You see, this gives your team the ability to reach out and touch their goals consistently, not just when the mood strikes them. That is how you build a legacy. That is how you win. Section 3, the quiet professional and the trap of empathy. Now that I know that some of you are probably thinking, but Ty, I'm a modern leader. I need to have empathy. Yeah, I need to care about my people, man. And absolutely, you're right. I love my teammates. I love my employees. But there is a massive difference between empathy and enabling. In the SEAL teams, we strive to be the quiet professional. The quiet professional doesn't need accolades. They don't need a pat on the back for something that they were supposed to do. Here is the hard truth. Empathy without standards is weakness. So if you let a team member slide on the standard because you feel bad for them or because you want them to like you, you are actually destroying the culture. You are telling the high performers that their effort doesn't really matter, and you are telling the low performer that mediocrity is actually acceptable. That isn't kindness, that is cruelty. You are robbing them of the discipline that they need to grow. True love for your team is holding the line as a leader, is looking them in the eye and saying, I care about you too much to let you be average. That's what a real leader does. We illuminate the path, and sometimes the path is hard work and discipline. Section 4, how to build the standard. So, how do you make this shift? How do you stop being a cheerleader and start being a general? Number 1, kill the hype. Stop trying to make work fun all the time. Make work meaningful instead. Connect the daily grind to the mission. Number 2, document the win. Clearly define what a win looks like so that your team understands what they are striving for. If your team doesn't know the standard, they can't hit it. Number 3, reward discipline, not just results. Praise the person who followed the process perfectly. Even if the result wasn't a home run, praise the behavior that you want to see repeated. So we've got some amazing tools and platforms coming very, very soon that are going to help you to implement this kind of precision in your own life. So make sure you keep an eye out for it. I'll close by saying this: motivation is for amateurs. Discipline is for professionals. Systems are for winners. Stop trying to light a fire under your people and start building a fire within them through the power of discipline and standards. If you got value from this, do me a favor, hit the like and subscribe buttons, and feel free to share this video with another leader that you care about. Keep leading from the front, and I will see y'all real soon.